introduce themselves. Okay. So let's start with you, Jardel. Can you talk a little bit about you, please?
Of course, I'm Jardel. I'm 28 years old. I work as a data engineer in Brazil, and I'm improving my English to get better opportunities for my career and for my life. I live in Curitiba, Paraná State, and in my free time, usually I go to the park with my wife and walk the dog. That is a little bit about me.
Okay. Thank you, Jardel. And what about you, Sydney? Can you talk a little bit about you?
Okay, for
Oh,
sure. Good morning.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm Sydney. I live in Belo Horizonte, where I've built my professional and personal life. I'm 39 years old. I work as an accountant for the last 20 years. So my main purpose to learn English first, like Jardel, is to find opportunity to boost my career in an international company. I think secondly, I want to, since I was a kid, I had that kind of dream to master that language, to use English like I use my Portuguese every day. Uh, well, about my personal life, I like to go out with my family, with for some restaurants, for some place, including with my son. He's 6 years old, so nowadays I think he has some necessities to play with other children, to have contact with different other kids, and I think it's important for the kids in that age to, I think, to improve their social skills. And I like to watch TV series, movies. I like to read articles about different topics. Yeah, I think that's it. A little about me. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Sydney. Now I remember you from our last conversation since you are accountant.
Okay.
Okay. And what about you, Osvaldo? Can you talk a little bit about you, please?
Okay, and I remember Sydney for I think some months ago. I couldn't
Yeah,
remember your voice.
yeah, you're right.
Okay, okay. Okay, guys. Well, actually, I'm improving my English to try to use in different fields in my life, like leisure time and job as well, because I've realized that the importance of the this language, to know the importance of knowing this language and everything. Actually, I can get the better and faster information when I can understand better reading, writing, and speaking English. I can see that in different fields of my life, like I said, especially as recently in my leisure time when I was, uh, yeah, I'm following game releasing, and I talked. I used to talk with the games developers on Discord, to share some bug and understand anything. And using English is so useful for these things actually. And of course, about my career, I can learn and understand, for example, lectures, tech lectures, for example, better than other time. So yeah, it's so uh, grateful for me, and it's so useful to learn more and more English. And yeah, I live with my family, my fiance and a stepson. And yeah, I like you, Carlos. Last week, my young son had elementary school graduation, and he was the speaker there, and we talked a lot about memories, and it was fun. And today will be a good conversation. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Osvaldo. And finally, what about you, Yanka? How are you today?
Morning, guys. Um, well, my name is Bianca. I think just Jardel. I don't know. Nice to meet you, Jardel.
Nice
Uh,
to meet you.
I My name is Bianca. I'm 28. I'm living in São Roque with my mom, and I am demographer. I study population and, in general, gender, race, labor market, and education, mainly in Brazil and South Africa. And last week I was in Colombia, guys. It was really awesome. I could train a little bit my Spanish, my beginner Spanish. It was really funny to try to do this. The I was in Bogota, in the city. It was really awesome. It was a historical city, it seems, because all the buildings, there were historical characteristics. So it was really beautiful to see this, a really colorful city, and the people are very welcome. And the food is really nice too, the music and so on. So it was a really nice experience.
Sorry. That's really interesting, especially I was talking with some friends about that because we live in Latin America and we are the only, Brazil is the only country who doesn't speak in English. So it was a goal to 2024, but I couldn't achieve. But next year I want to learn Spanish as well. All right, thank you for sharing, Yanka. Actually, I forgot to mention. Uh, Once per week, I do a meeting here in my house. Um, and the last week came a guy from Venezuela, and I start to talk with him, try to talk with him in Spanish. And he was trying to teach me the difference of the pronunciation about pero and perro, perro. I don't know how to it's oh I can't do that, and this is the reason I always prefer English than Spanish because since it's close to Portuguese, but it's not so close as people usually think. So it's hard to me, but I will learn for sure. All right, guys. I didn't talk about me, so my name is Carlos. I'm a student just like you. Okay, I'm not a teacher. I'm a software engineer. So actually, I can't teach you anything because, as I say, I'm not a English teacher. But in Talk and Talk, we believe we can learn together, sharing our experiences, and this is really interesting. It's a really good way to get and evolve your communication skills, your vocabulary, and anything else related to talking English. Okay, so let's start with our questions. I will share again because Yanka joined us later. Today we'll talk about nostalgia. Nostalgia. All right, it's hard to pronounce. But ChatGPT helped me to learn the right pronunciation about nostalgia. Okay, so I was pronounced close to Portuguese, but it's always good to learn. Okay, let's start with the first question. Osvaldo, can you start reading the question number one and start answering to us, please?
Okay, let's do it. What's your favorite childhood memory from the end of the year? Well, in summary, just to play. Just to play is always a good way to spend time. And when I was child, I had a lot of time to do nothing or playing with my relatives like cousins or childhoods. Uh, yeah, it's hard to select a specific scene in my mind, but in general, it's this.
All right, all right. You are not so old to don't remember about
Yeah.
your childhood, so it's good because you have a lot of good memories to pick or to select. All right. And what about you, Jardel? What do you remember about that quest about the question number one? What is your favorite childhood memory about the end of
Okay,
the year, of course?
okay. I remember when the break time in the school start, every day I got to the soccer player or soccer place at a soccer place with my friends and play every day and start like a two two or three p.m. o'clock and the time like at 10 p.m. o'clock because I lived in a small city and that city was not dangerous for was not dangerous for the child and we got and spent a great time uh, playing in the street play in the street and in that places with my friends. I really enjoyed that time in my life.
All right. Thank you, Jardel. And what about you, Yanka? Question number one. What do you remember?
I lived in a place similar to Jardel, a calm place, a rural place. I grew up in here in São Roque, and in the school holidays, school break, all my cousins came to here to pass in here, the Christmas and so on, in my grandma house. I lived with her. She raised me. And so in the Christmas, I remember all my family in here and the children's too. And we always set fire in. Qual o nome daquilo, gente? Que, putz, fogos de artifício.
Okay.
Always fogos de artifício.
Fireworks.
Fireworks. We had dogs at that time, but the things change. I assume that, but in that moment, we set fires in fireworks, fire. Fire, no, 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 no. And it was really funny. And another things that we used to do is set fire in Bombril too. And
Okay.
and keep
Spinning. Yeah.
spinning that it was really nice. And it's dangerous to put this in a children's hand, but the politicamente correto didn't work in that time, I think. So it was really nice to do this. And my family, it's a party family, so we danced a lot all the night. And I remember all of this.
All right. It's look like a really good memory you have about that part of your life. So congrats. And what about you, Sydney? Do you remember something related to the question number one?
Yeah, I remember many things, especially about from my family, my father and my mother. They they treated that the final of the year differently. My father used to be very stressful, but in that moment he modified a lot his personality. I think he loved that part of the year because the Christmas, that kind of the things. And I remember my with my brothers, we played a lot on the streets and in in our home. And also, I remember I was a little addictive about video games, so I played a lot video games, not just with my brothers, but with my friends and in some pubs, arcade games, I would say. So I that's a moment I remember vividly, and For me, it's a piece of the happiness in my life when I'm facing some challenges in my life about my professional and personal life. I try to remember those days, and I think it helped me a lot to overcome that problems.
All right, congratulations. It's always good to realize some good points of our life. And actually, for me, the question number one, it will be sound a little bit strange or different from you guys, because my favorite childhood memory is not related to the school break. It was my favorite memory. I don't know why, but I think it's because my house wasn't a peaceful place to be there, you know? So I always prefer to be in the school than in my house. So my favorite memory is the last week before we start the school break, you know? Because we didn't have classes, so we are just hanging out with our friends in the school, you know, chilling and doing something funny. So I today I can remember the smell of my school in that time, you know. The best memory that I have is related to that, the final week before start the vacation. So the guys on the last year, I don't know, in the high school or oitava série, the eighth grade, you know, start to oh my gosh, to write on the t-shirts, you know, because oh, next year I will not see you anymore because I will to another place and those things, you know. So I don't know if they do this in another parts of Brazil, but it's really common here in the south of Brazil, and it's my favorite memory. It's not related to the vacation, but it's related to the final week in the school. Yeah, that's it about me. So let's start with the question number two. So Osvaldo, you are shaking your head. So do you have the same culture in your in your school? Signing
Yeah, yeah, for
t-shirts,
sure. When someone broke some ossos, we used to
bones
bones, yes, and we used to uh, write our
to
name
write.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a good,
Anyway,
yeah,
it's it's good to remember.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's what about you guys? Yanka, Sydney, Jardel, the guys in your school write the t-shirt, sign the t-shirt. Yeah.
Yes, in my
Yes.
school. I remember
But
that.
do you remember? Yeah. I remember because my mother didn't allow me to do that, you know, because you need to use this t-shirt next year. So I only could do that on the eighth grade and in the third grade, I think. But I'm not a, how can I say that? Uh, I'm not a so popular, so I didn't have so many friends to write on my t-shirt. And anyway, it was funny to remember that.
I had the same
Let's.
problem with my mom and my parents. He didn't
Oh
allow
yeah,
me to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
but I couldn't see my friends doing that.
yeah. And I right now I remember another thing happened in the end of the year, before the school break. People bring eggs and flavor farinha to the school, you know, to break in our heads and do a mass, you know. Actually, this is common when you pass to in the vestibular, but sometimes they do that only for joking in the last day of the school.
Holding eggs.
Yeah, hot and eggs. Sometimes it was hot and eggs. And I remember some friends saying they reserve a special egg to a special guy, you know? All right, let's skip that part. As Yanka said, the politicamente correto wasn't common at that time. I'm from the 90s, you know, eu sou de 1990, so the things were really different from now. Let's go to the question number 2. Let's start with you, Sydney. Can you read and start answering to us, please? Sidney, está aí?
Okay, I'm here. How
Pergunta
did you
número.
feel when school was over for the year? Well, let me see. I feel I had a lot of friends, and firstly, I feel I will miss them, most of them. But I feel also relief about that kind of a pressure to about the studies. Uh, I feel happy as well because I would have moments to play more with my friends nearby my house. My friends, they were different from because my school is a little far away from my home. So I had different friends in my school and the friends, and I had another friends that lived in nearby my house. So, but yeah, I used to felt happy because yeah, because the time I would have with for me to play my video games, to play another games with my friends, and also some trips, little trips we used to have with I used to have with my family.
All right, that's awesome. And what about you, Jardel? Did you enjoy when the school was over, or did you doesn't like? How do you feel in that time?
Yeah, I can say about two feels, a good feel and a little bit bad feel because I remember in when a school stopped and break for the vacation, I had the friends or some friends in the school, but I had other friends and in the vacations more around my house. I have different friends, and I get good feels because I would play with my house friends, but I forgot the friends in the school. And I remember, and we said, oh, I will see you in the next year, and stop the friendship with 2 months for 2 months, and start again after that period. There's a there's my memory exactly.
And actually, when you come back in the next year, sometimes your best friend wasn't this. How can I say that? Something changed with him. I
Yeah,
remember that, you know, and
yeah,
you realize, oh, it's not the same guy who was my best friend. He is different, but I don't think I like this new version, you know. It was took, I don't know, 1 week to get friends again.
yeah. You're
it's
right.
it it's hard to express that, but I know the feeling. And what about you, Osvaldo? Did you enjoy that time when the school was over?
Yeah, I had the same feeling that you have just said, Carlos, about the remake the friendship. It's interesting, but it's happened to me a lot by the time. Well, to be honest, I liked to be there at the school and to be at home, you know. I'm only child, but like all of us, I lived in a simple family, and when I got the video game, my first video game, when I had around 15 years old, yeah, uh, it was my favorite time to play video games a lot. So when the school was over that year, I thought, oh, I need to finish that the game A and start to play the game B, something like that, you know. And yeah, it was my favorite passatempo in my uh, school break, playing video games with my friends, relatives, or alone, whatever.
So you feel good when the school was over.
I think I'm mixed, like Jardel. I liked to stay at the school because I had a interesting kind dear friends, you know, and at the same time, uh, stay at home. It was a good time too.
All right, all right. And what about you, Yanka?
When my elementary school finished, it was really bad to me because I received a scholarship to a private school. So I knew that I never will see my friends again from the elementary. And I had my t-shirt assigned. I cried a lot. It was really, really, really bad, to be honest, in that time. And it was really difficult because, yes, I changed the school. I went to a private school, so I had to make friends again in a different place that I didn't know how the things works. And it was really hard be the only black and poor girl in the middle of white rich children. It was really strange, guys, really, really strange. And I was from a really rural place, so I changed it a lot too during that moment in the secondary school. But when the secondary school finished, I felt sad again because I made friends in there. But in that moment, they write letters to me too. So I had these letters until today, and I had some friends from there until today. But it was difficult because some people have friends since the childhood until now, sometimes because didn't change schools, and I don't have friends from my childhood, from the elementary or the secondary school because of this, I think, because I had to change a lot. And when the high school finished, I changed of city, so I went to Campinas. So I lose totally the ties with my friends, the friends that I made. So yeah, I don't have a lot of friends from that moment, from my childhood and younghood, teenage when I was a teenager. I think just when I became an adult that I have friends that I can cultivate now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
I
don't
know
know
the
if do you have, Carlos, friends from your childhood until now?
no, no at all. Actually, different from you. Almost every year I had to change from school. It wasn't because I didn't have good grades. Actually, I was a good student, but I didn't have a good behavior. So it's hard to say that in live on YouTube, but let me explain. Because as you can see, I like to talk a lot, you know. And since I have a really angry mother. She always made me to study a lot at home. So when I come to school, I know what the teacher was explaining, so I didn't like to waste my time because I had ADHD, tenho TDAH. So it was hard to focus on the explanation and other things. So I talked a lot, and of course I did some tricks as well. So I got expelled uh, one time from one school, and every year my mother had to move me to another school, and it was really bad. So I learned quickly how to make new friends, so it's easy to me to start new friendships, but I don't bring them. It was the same way I create new friends, I lose friends, so I don't have any friend from my childhood. But I have two guys in my life. It was I know them when I was in the elementary school. I don't know, tipo no maternal. Não sei dizer, tipo, eu tinha acho que uns 4 anos. I had 4 years when I know this guy, and even I was changing from one school to another school. Sometimes we get on the same class again. And when I got on the high school, we start to study again when we bring that friendship again. And these two guys, Caveira y Beto, Caveira was his nickname, and Bet was another one. We start to learn how to programming, and these two guys was so important in my life because I learned a lot with them, not only tech stuff but talking about friendship. So they are really important to me. Today I don't have contact with them because they live in another city, but I keep in my heart them because they was really important to me. That's it. Uh, yeah, I think the question number two I read answer. I didn't like when the school finished when the school was over because I prefer to stay in the school than in my house. And that's it. Let's jump to the question number three. Let me check. Yanka, can you start with this question, please? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Yanka.
Yes, I always mix these terms in my mind. It's is the question, did your family have any special traditions in December?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. What were they? Well, my family is a traditional family. We have several kinds of tradition in the December moment. So we always put together the pieces we always make the Christmas tree and Christmas decoration and so on. Usually we wait until midnight to have the dinner, the Christmas dinner. So we have to wait until there. It's really difficult to do this. I think this is the most difficult part, the Christmas to me. I always steal some food to eat. Without my grandmother seeing me. Usually the women's cooked and the men's
Drink beers.
drink beers or make the barbecue or
Mm.
uh do some structural things to the party happen after. But in the kitchen, the women's always talked a lot, gossiped a lot. All my aunts came to my grandma's house and helped her to do all the things. It was really beautiful to see all that women together cooking and gossiping. I learned a lot about cooking and about life in that moment. So I think it was that. And I think Osvaldo know my grandma always gave to us folha de louro in the Christmas or in the new year because give us some kind of prosperity in this new year. So it was
Kind of
another
superstition.
tradition. Yes, we are very superstitious until today.
All right. And related to the those family traditions, they still live in your family? Did you your family still do the same thing, or they lose that or not?
Yeah, my grandma and my grandpa passed away in 2018, and since then my family broke. My some aunts go to one side, my mom go to another side, and it was really bad. But I feel that my mom tried to do this. My mom is a traditional woman, so she always tried to make some people, some familiars together, get together in these holidays on or in these special moments, and she tried to cultivate this a lot. It's a hard work. I should help her more, but this year I will help her. I realize that she is doing this now, and this is important too. So yeah, I think it's nice to make part of this.
Yeah, sorry about that, but it's really common when, how can I say, the main point are the root of the family pass away. The family go each one for their own space. I don't know how to say that. I saw that with my father-in-law. He passed away 2 years ago, and as you said, the family was broke. Nowadays, my brother-in-law go to the beach at the end of the year, and me and my wife try to keep with my mother-in-law because she's alone right now, but it's hard because I have my own parents and they are not friends, my mother-in-law and my mother, so it's hard to me, but I try to do my best. Anyway, and what about you, Jardel? Your family has any special tradition in December?
Okay, I don't remember about the special traditions. I think my family didn't have specific traditions, but I remember when I was teenager, I created a tradition for me. I remember because when I start my vacation, I every year I remember for around 4 years I went to my friend to my brother's house in Florianopolis, and I lived in a small city in the Paraná state, but I went every year to my brother's house to work with him and get some money and go to the beach with him, and that is a good memory. And I think there was a tradition for me because I did that for to 4 years in my
All right.
teenagers.
All right. Congrats. It's always good to have those moments. And what about you, Sydney? Uh, did your family had any tradition at the holidays or at December?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Back then, we didn't. We had a tradition to have a kind of feasts together, but only just my family, my parents and my brothers, because I don't know what happened in those days, but we didn't have contact with the my uncles and my aunts. I think most of them lived far away from us, but in nowadays we have that kind of tradition. Everyone in our family and in the family of my wife, we we stay together, and we make kind of feast, and every family bring its dishes, and I think yeah, what else? Yeah, we usually do that, make that feast in my home, and the what else? And yeah, of course, I have another tradition that uh, I start to do that to dress Santa Claus clothes, and
Oh,
they
that's
give
awesome.
yeah, give to the kids a kind of gifts. And I did that for the last 4 years, but in this year my brother, he will replace me because my son, he starts to realize, to recognize me, and I need to show him that I'm not Santa Claus. So we love to do that because with that we can motivate the kids to participate more, and they think to have a good memory for that child.
That That's really interesting, and you bring old memory to me. I didn't remember that before you said that, because in my family we don't celebrate anything. Actually, sometimes we celebrate. Sometimes my mother tried to do something, but it wasn't a tradition. 24, 25, 31, 1st of January was only a common day. My mother don't celebrate birthdays and anything at all. So, but I'm not sad about that. It was common to me. So when I got married, I start to adapt myself with my wife because they celebrate everything, birthdays, Christmas, I don't know, how can I say that? Oh,
Sunshine.
yeah, everything. My wife celebrate everything, and that's really awesome. And I bring that to me. But Sydney was talking about someone dressed on like the Santa, you know. And I remember one year my neighbor invited me to be with him on the Christmas because my mother wasn't do anything. So I remember his father dressed like Santa, and the kid was so amazed. Oh, Santa is here! Santa is here! And I was looking to that. Oh, it's only his father, and it was a magical moment to them. But it wasn't magical to me, but I remember that and was really good have that Christmas with them because I start to look to myself and realize, oh, why our family doesn't have something like that, and start to think. Anyway, I don't want to bring bad vibes right now, but it was it was good remember that right now. And especially, I forgot from you, Osvaldo. Did your family have any special tradition at December?
Yeah, at the old time, for sure. I remember a lot of opportunities of my family making party in a rural place, but the same way that happened with Bianca and you, Carlos, when one of my root person passed away, all of this tradition was done. And well, when during you were talking about, I remembered a year that I was the Santa for my children. When the older one was around of 2 years old, and the younger had less than a years old. I remember. I remember. I just remembered that, and Actually, in my family, uh, yeah, my wife used to try to do these traditional things, and my mom tried to keep me around of her, close to her at the time. For example, we organized our Christmas foods this year and then some days after now, and we spend with time with my mom. My mom is sick. Actually, she has cancer, and I need to invest my time with her. And my wife decided to share with this with me, and we'll spend some time with her. And my father, let me see. Yeah, my father, it's not the traditional guy. He is like your family, Carlos. He don't use to remember my birthday, for example, or don't celebrate anything. And like you, I don't feel sad because it's the way that some people use to see the life. So no problem for me. Uh, I have this problem, Carlos. It's hard for me to celebrate anything because my old costume, old time, my criação. It is hard to remember. I remember a time that I lost an ex-girlfriend because I forgot her birthday.
Yeah, it's
That's it.
hard. It's hard sometimes, and we need to adapt ourselves, But thank you for sharing. And actually, what you said about your mother and about your father, I realized that since I lost my father-in-law, how the life can be short sometimes, and I try to fix that in my own life with my own parents, so I try to spend more time with them and do good things to them because I need to correct that. I really love my mother and my father. They are really important to me. I don't want to give the impression I don't like my family at all. I had problems with my brothers. I can't say the same thing to my brothers. So I was talking about my house wasn't a peaceful place, but it's because I had a really bad brother. Actually, one time he tried to murder me, but it's it's a subject to another conversation. But I really love my father and my mother, and I try to spend more time with them. And for me, I don't know I can say that, but I pray to my father change his mind and want to spend more time with my mother-in-law because since my wife lost her father, it's really important to her to get those days with her mother, Christmas, New Year, and anything else. But my father doesn't like to go because there is a difference, a social difference, because my mother-in-law has more money than my father, and he doesn't feel comfortable in her house, and a lot of other problems anyway. But this year he decided to pass the Christmas with my mother-in-law, so I get happy this year because I don't need to fight with anyone. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. So guys, we are getting close to the end of our conversations, but I think we had time to a final question. All right. I will choose the question number 7 to finish. Okay. Let's start with you, Jardel. Can you start the question number 7 to us, please?
Of course, I will read. Do you have a favorite place you visited during the holidays? Why was it special? Special. Uh, I can remember about the not specific holiday, but I think specific in a vacation school or a school vacation. I said about my brother's house. There was a special for me. I can remember that again because every year I went to my brother's house, and I enjoyed that moment because in my city I didn't work because we don't have we didn't have work or opportunities in the small city, but in the end of the year I went to my brother's house and worked out with him. I remember I worked out with oh my cell phone started to sound, so sorry. And I got my money. I remember when I shop on Nike shoes. I can remember that moment in my life, and I really enjoyed that moment because with that, I think I start my brain and I start my mindset to work and to get better opportunity for my life. That was good. That was good for me. Good moment.
All right, thank you for sharing. And what about you, Sydney? Question number 7. There is any favorite place for you in the holidays?
Yes, for sure. I remember when I was a kid, I liked to visit my aunties and uncles' houses, especially because I had the opportunity to play with my cousins. And when I became a teenager in my adult, I like to visit some my the house of my friends, especially those who are older than me, because they had they already worked and had more money, and they used to make some feast, some party in their houses, some barbecues. And for me it was a great moment to I had with them, among that people.
All right, thank you, Sydney. And what about you, Yanka?
I can remember of two different places, my favorite place in the holidays that I like to visit. I used it to visit actually when I was a child. The first one, it's Vinícola Góes. I live in here in São Roque, near to the Roteiro do Vinho. I don't know if you know, but it's very beautiful. If you can search on Google, Vinícola Góes. It's a very green place and beautiful place. And I used to go in there with my grandma and my grandpa. My grandpa worked in there as a trucker, caminhoneiro, I don't know. But he worked in there. And in the holidays, sometimes we went to there and make picnic and so on, which was really nice. And I went to my aunt's house in São Paulo too, in Itaquera. But in there, I liked a feira on Sundays. And the things, it was really cheap in there. And with 10 reais, I made all the party. I bought all the things that I want to in that moment. So it was really a really good memory too, and a really nice place to visit.
All right, thank you, Yanka. Oswaldo, I will skip you. Sorry, because we are getting out of time. But since you are host here in Talk and Talk, I think you can apologize me, okay? But we need to